Big Mac, Chicken McNuggets, no, Big Mac and Quarter Pounder with cheese, or Filet-O-Fish. You'd be doing the same thing if you were at McDonald's, because you can choose not just one, but two of your favorites for just $6. Tasty Big Mac, crispy 10-piece Chicken McNuggets, juicy Quarter Pounder with cheese, or savory Filet-O-Fish. Enjoy two of your all-time favorites for just $6, if you can decide on the two. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal. Single item at regular price.
What's up, guys? Rich Butler here. Thanks for downloading the latest episode of Toys and Tech of the Trade and allowing us to bring a little toys, a little talk, and a little tech to your headphones and speakers with some assembly required. Before I give you a little bit of background on this week's guest, I want to thank those of you that have been taking the time to download the episodes on iTunes, whether through the individual Toys and Tech of the Trade listing or via the RageWorks network feed of podcast shows. We truly, truly appreciate it. If you are downloading the show via iTunes, please take a moment and rate the show, and please feel free, if you got a second or two, to write a review. Let us know what you like, and as always, let us know what you dislike. I mean, we may bring the heat sometimes, or we may not. At the end of the day, those interactions are crucial and allow us to give you the best interviews and the best content possible, whether it's on air or even on the site. Just one of those things that we really, really appreciate if you take the time to do it, because it allows us a little bit more visibility and just shows that people are genuinely enjoying our content. My guest for this episode is the next guest in the RageWorks Creator Series. Our last episode was our very own Jimbo Slice. This week, it's our very own Slick. Now, Slick has been part of the RageWorks family since well before RageWorks came to fruition. He was a big part of My Take Radio. In addition to, at times, serving as co-host, he also handled production duties, call screening, and pretty much brought a really huge level of professionalism to My Take Radio once we went live. I've had the pleasure of knowing Slick a long time. We became acquainted through video games, our love of video games, during the MySpace heyday, and the proximity to how close we lived was a big factor in just allowing us to hang out more often and chop it up about different things. And our love of Transformers, Voltron, anime, various video games just continued to be a big part of our friendship. As part of RageWorks now, he is our games editor, and he is one of the people that is a huge sounding board when it comes to RageWorks decisions, whether it's color schemes, themes, event coverage, the people that we have on the site, the writers that we bring on board. Slick is definitely one of the people whose opinion I value most, and one of the people who has such an eclectic mix of technology and toys at his disposal, not only to create content, but just to bring a smile to his own face. I figured that it would be fitting to have someone just as passionate as myself and Jimbo Slice stepping up next as the latest RageWorks creator to be featured on Toys and Tech of the Trade. All right, without any further ado, let's turn it over to Slick and learn about the toys and tech of his trade. All right, the moment you guys have been waiting for. Our very own Slick is in the studio for a brand new episode of Toys and Tech of the Trade. We're going to find out what tech and gear he uses to create content and give you guys all the latest and greatest on RageWorks. Plus, we're going to find out the games he's obsessing over and the toys that he is into. What is going on, my friend?
What's up, brother?
Man, it feels good to actually be on the microphones together versus, just talking about shit on a keyboard.
It does. It's still My Take Radio memories, though.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we wrap. It feels like only yesterday we wrapped episode 400, and since then we've just been working on everything else. But it's always good to just sit down and chop it up a bit. I know that after we did the Toys and Tech of the Trade column for the site, a lot of people were just really digging like a lot of the gear and stuff that you use. And even when we updated the post for 2018 and now with the show, a lot has changed since then. So, one of the biggest things, especially in light of the recent Apple announcement, is mobile devices. You recently picked up the Note 9 now, right?
No, I didn't.
You didn't?
I skipped because I didn't see enough. Well, there's a couple of reasons. One, obviously money, with the phone being basically rent. But the pen, while it's always great, the overall phone didn't seem like enough of a difference to warrant the price.
Okay.
I am planning to get whether they call it the 10
guess,
or
yeah.
the X or whatever, especially with now that Apple is, I don't really see use for it myself, but with Apple announcing the whole dual SIM shit,
Yep.
I can only assume that Samsung and every other Android manufacturer is going to follow suit.
Well, it's interesting because as someone who, Slick and I have been hardcore Note users for a long time. And after the Note 7 incident, I went and I switched to a Galaxy S9, I believe. And I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't get into the phone. And I'm like, all right, I'm just going to go back to the warm embrace of Apple. And, initially I did miss the pen, and I still do. I think that the pen is probably one of the best things. And I think it's one of the things that really Samsung hit out of the park. When you got your Note 8, I remember you were like, man, this is it. And you're not the first person to say that it's a marginal upgrade to get the 9 from the 8. Don't get me wrong. Like the yellow pen is cool with the blue phone, or
right.
as I like to call it, the Best Buy edition.
Exactly.
Because it is blue and yellow. But overall, the phone itself is pretty much, the guts have remained for the most part the same. Now that you got a Note device once again after what did you end up using after the 7 debacle for a while?
Oh God, the LG, I believe it was the LG V20.
Right.
Horrible.
You hated it, huh?
Like the phone itself, when I first got it, nice features. Battery life was not great. And it just, shortly after I got it, like I kept it for a full year, but shortly after I got it, just performance went, not to the point where I couldn't use it, but performance went way down.
Now, was that also when you were using the V20? That was when they really started to go hard with the button on the back of the phone, right?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
man, let me tell you, if it's one thing I don't like about LG's phones is the button on the back. I just can't. It just seems so unnatural to me personally as an end user. And what made you go with the V20 versus a different Samsung offering?
Well, because I was soured on Samsung because of the hand grenade, and because even if I weren't, the what do you call it? The Galaxy S series, it's like a baby Note without a pen. It's like a Note that hasn't gone through puberty because it doesn't have the pen.
Well played. I now with the Note 8, that device for you is essentially, it kind of replaces a laptop at this point. They're getting that powerful. I know you also had a laptop at one point. Do you get more productivity stuff done now with the Note versus, say, if you had a laptop on you?
Yes and no, because I can do pretty much everything that I want to do with a laptop, but there's always the curse of the sausage fingers.
Yep.
I do intend to get a laptop once I get everything squared away.
Right.
But it's like I can still work on art. I have started working on articles on the site via the Note.
Okay. I didn't know that. Nice.
It's a double-edged sword. It's convenient, but it sucks when you're used to using a 40-inch screen and a keyboard.
Right.
And you're relegated to a 6-inch screen vertically and a little touch keyboard with your sausage thumbs.
Yep. I know that. I know the feeling all too well. I think for me, when it comes to the Note, I miss it, and I contemplated going back, but the thing about it is, and it's something that's so generic and so stereotypical, but the Apple devices just quote unquote work. Like it's just, hey, here's iOS 12. Everybody installs it. You don't have to wait for, oh, well, this carrier is going to wait till next week while this other carrier is going to wait till next month, but this carrier is going to give you the update next year. Like, I think that's one of the biggest hurdles with Android. If you don't have a pure Android device, it's that, because sometimes those updates are incredibly important. I remember, what was it? Not the Note 7, but the Note prior. There was some big update that Samsung had put out, and and everybody was at the mercy of the carrier to get the update, and it was incredibly disheartening, especially because if I remember correctly, that update was supposed to give us a bunch of new features and also allow improve the battery life at the time. And I think that when it's updates like that, the fact that it still has to go through carrier approval is a pain in the ass.
I remember vaguely what you're referring to, and I think I got it quickly, but you're right about it being a pain in the ass. Especially at that time, I believe I was still messing with Pokemon Go.
Yep.
And it's like, that was like the major resource drain on the phone. And
Absolutely.
I'm sure for the people that still play it, no matter whether they have Android or iOS, that is the main resource drain on their phone, unless they play like, some kind of crazy RPG on their phone or something.
Well, while we're on the subject of Pokemon Go, it takes me into the next thing. Clearly, you really, as a gamer, you've embraced mobile gaming pretty steadily. I mean, you've always been a big Nintendo DS supporter, but you've been also doing more mobile gaming. What are you playing on your mobile device now?
Honestly, on my mobile device, I really only play simple games right now because my work day is long. It's on the short end. It's 11 hours because of the combined commute and work day. And if there's overtime in there, it goes up, exponentially. So the Note 8, the battery is great. If I leave my house at, let's say, anywhere between 6 to 8 in the morning with a full charge, I can come home at like 10 o'clock at night, and depending on how I've used it, have anywhere from 50 to 20% remaining.
Wow.
So the charge is excellent, and I have options to charge it because obviously there's a bunch of plugs at work, plus you can use the wireless charging, all that stuff. But I can go a full day without charging it, and it'll probably be on life support, but it'll still be running.
Well, for your commute then, with the simple games you're playing, what's on the rotation?
Right now it's like this is primarily this word game I play called Words Up. I got Mario Run. I skipped through my PlayStation app because, during the day sometimes I'll get a PR from whatever company say, hey, review this game. So, I got to put that in, and I put it in through the phone so that it starts downloading, because if my PS4 is on rest mode, it'll start right away.
Nice.
There's the Family Guy, another freaking mobile game, which is the actual title of the game.
Is that the RPG style game?
No, that's the Family Guy basically did horrible things to Candy Crush.
Oh, okay.
And then there's Candy Crush.
Wow, you're still playing Candy Crush, huh?
Occasionally. I prefer the Family Guy game because it's Family Guy. Then there's this game that I have, which I forget the full name of it, but basically you can pick male or female, but you're looking at a plumber's ass and you're throwing coins in the crack.
That's pretty funny. That's pretty different.
Because I still religiously play GTA Online, I have the iFruit app, which allows you to customize your license plates. Like, if anybody has noticed, like when you see my videos and pictures from GTA, you see like the license plate says things like Black Rage or many various inappropriate things. And that's through the iFruit app. That's actually the only way to customize license plates in a game.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. You mentioned earlier, Pokemon Go. Have you retired Pokemon Go officially?
I have officially retired Pokemon Go. Like I've pissed off some people with my thoughts, so I'll just say to those who are still playing, more power to you. I can't do it anymore. I prefer the quote unquote real games, which I can only quote unquote now because Nintendo has actually made a game that pairs with it that's coming out next November.
Yep.
November.
That's right. Now, it's funny because I still periodically play it, mostly because there's like a Pokestop on the corner of my house, so I can just walk to the corner and just, get some stuff. And if I'm going anywhere on mass transit, I'll play, just because if you're on, for instance, the Long Island Railroad here in New York, every station has Pokestops, so I just load up. I just load up on the train there, play a little bit, load up on the train back. Definitely not playing it as hardcore as I was, but it hasn't been deleted off my phone, so I still give it a little play.
If I'm gonna be on the Long Island Railroad, which I miss those days now that I'm on the bus, I would probably take either my DS or my Switch. Versus like I get a lot of weird looks because when I'm on the bus, they'll see me with my phone and an iPod, and I'm sure they're thinking, why doesn't he just listen to music on his phone? Because it's a battery drainer.
Okay.
It's like I need my phone for other things, so I dedicate the iPod to my music.
Oh, I'm all right. I was going to ask that because, for me, are you still an MP3 transfer person, or do you use any streaming services?
MP3s.
Okay.
Mostly it's mostly a Mr. Krabs thing. I'm not paying for any streaming services when I have so many hundreds of CDs at home that, are all on my computer. And
you digitized your CDs, huh?
Yeah.
How long did it take you? And I ask because I'm in the process of doing that.
Well, I've done it multiple times because, every time you get a new computer, you can, of course, transfer the information, but sometimes I do it just because over the years there have been improvements to the file formats. But if I go from A to Z in my collection, it's gonna take weeks.
Okay.
So it's like I'll try to do a letter a day, but one letter might have 10 discs,
albums, right?
And one letter might have over 50.
Wow. Okay.
So,
and you're much like me. You've become a pretty accomplished PC builder.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you helped me a lot with that, but I try to maintain my own stuff. Like, I'm not buying, unless it's a laptop, I'm not buying a pre-made system any longer.
It's interesting, and I bring this up because there was an article recently about more people just moving back towards just buying pre-made machines because it's become, with the whole rise of cryptocurrency and everybody building machines to just mine crypto money, it was just insane. And people were just like, we can't get a graphics card, we can't do this or that because everybody's buying them for crypto mining. So it's interesting that you, much like me, still feel very strongly about just building computers yourself, because what's happening is so many companies are making so many strong cases and so many companies are coming out with just really impressive rigs.
I saw something from Alienware yesterday that actually looked pretty damn alien.
Yep.
It was round, sort of, which for a tower looks insane.
Yep.
But I still would prefer to build my own because you cut out the bloatware.
Absolutely.
You get exactly what you want. And it's like, if you give yourself a time frame, if you don't wait till your machine's dead and say it's time for me to build a new machine, and you give yourself a time frame, you're going to get exactly what you want. You're not going to have to worry about the card that I want is getting bought by the data miners and all that stuff. And, you just take your time.
Now, being that your PC is pretty much the brains of the operation and one of the many pieces of equipment you use to generate content for RageWorks, what are your what are you using on there mostly? I know that we used to use what was the Microsoft app to write posts? That was a big one.
LiveWriter.
And I don't even think they support that anymore. Do you still use it?
It does work with WordPress, but I just use WordPress now.
Right. So do I.
Because it's like the support is wonky.
It's funny because somebody was like, you can use like Microsoft Word and it'll send a post to WordPress, and I was just like, listen, I'll just write in the native platform and leave it at that, because LiveWriter was good, and I think nobody's going to come up with a replacement that's going to be as good. Like, it just worked so well and it was seamless.
LiveWriter was the only thing that made it worthwhile writing offline, really, and transferring it into WordPress, because it did all that work for you.
Oh, yeah.
And you didn't have to go into the freaking text code to fix things that look stupid, because pretty much when you paste stuff into WordPress, it maintains like formatting and stuff, even if you tell it not to.
Yep.
And it just looks awful, and you got to fix it, and it sucks.
Are you due to build a new PC soon, or are you still pretty much on the cusp? And I ask because I've been kind of tossing back and forth building one. Obviously, with AMD, we use an AMD system here in the studio. Their Threadripper CPUs are on another level.
I would love to build a new machine just because we've entered like a new era of like graphics cards where they're really going insane with the graphics. I mean, take a game like Final Fantasy 15 that is supporting 8K resolution. I'm like, why, when we don't even have displays that can handle that? But it's like you have graphics cards that are up there with that, graphics cards that cost more than a whole freaking system. And like I said, I would like to. I don't need to right now, but I would like to, just because I get a lot of offers for like Steam stuff, and I pretty much always got to turn it down, one, time, and two, because my computer can handle gaming, but it's like with everything that's going on and my lack of time, it's like it's going to cause more problems it's going to close more doors than it opens, I feel.
Okay.
So right now, that PC that I have is more of just a workhorse than a game horse.
All right. So, while we're on the subject of PCs, I know we were talking about LiveWriter and some of the other stuff. What are some of your other frequently used programs on the PC?
Well, I mean, browsing,
at least three, yeah, like three good recommendations that you use day to day.
Browsing is Chrome. Video editing is, I'm trying to remember the proper, because it's like the company is Blackmagic Design.
Is it Resolve?
DaVinci Resolve is the program. And like just for like viewing stuff, I use the VLC.
Can't go wrong with the VLC player, my friend. I use VLC on everything as much as humanly possible because it just works.
Yeah, it works with pretty much everything.
So no Steam for you, huh?
I have Steam, but I really don't have... I haven't had a new game on Steam, I don't think, this year.
They almost got me with Fire Pro, and then I held out because I heard Fire Pro was coming to consoles.
Oh, yeah, from the original announcement, they said that it was coming to Steam and PlayStation 4.
Yep.
And then they added Xbox to that. So it went into Steam Early Access for a full year.
Yep. When I saw it, I was like, wow.
And I was upset about that, as was Jay. But it's out now, which unfortunately it came out at a very bad time for me, because it came out the same day as Yakuza Kiwami 2. 2 weeks later, Spider-Man came out. A week after that, Tomb Raider came out.
September's not the month for. I think it was one of those things where it's something we've always talked about, the summer drought.
And the summer drought really doesn't exist anymore.
No, the hell it doesn't, and that's the problem. That you're kind of in the trenches with certain titles, and then the fall hits, and you would think with kids going back to school and stuff, oh, let's not bombard people with 3 or 4 AAA titles in one. Oh no, let's just open up your wallets and pilfer every red cent out of it.
Now, here's the funny thing. I think a lot of people still think that the summer drought exists because a lot of lesser known titles come out in the summer. And that's why I always try to support the little guys.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of games that people are like, what the hell are you talking about? And then when they look at these things like, wow, this game is really cool. It's like, yeah, it is. And it came out in the summer. A lot of these like indie titles come out in the summer, like Dead Cells came out in the summer, which we do have a review of. Death's Gambit, which it kind of is and kind of isn't an indie title because it's through Adult Swim. I still have to finish the review for that. That's another thing. But those are both similar games where it's like they're like 2.5D punishing titles. Like they're similar to if Dark Souls came out in the NES era.
Right.
It's like Death's Gambit. There's a boss that is literally as tall as the screen, like 3 times over.
Oh, jeez.
It's like it makes the bosses in Shadow of the Colossus look tiny.
Oh, man. That's pretty insane.
Like you have to climb this thing and fight pieces of it as you're climbing.
Nice.
They have monsters that like they're flying through the air at amazing speeds. And you got to hold on and fight at the same time. It's like Death's Gambit is the type of game that speedrunners and people that don't mind those punishing type titles will go crazy for.
And that is on
I'm
PS4,
pretty sure it's on
Steam?
PS4 and Steam. I think it's also on Xbox One, which brings me to another thing.
Well, while we are, we're jumping around a bit, but it's because our interests are similar. You mentioned the Switch, you mentioned gaming on the DS, you mentioned the PS4. No mention of Xbox. You skipped out this generation, huh?
I do not own an Xbox One, but it's not for lack of want.
Right.
I do actually want an Xbox One X, but, and this is a personal feeling, it's also, there's a lot of truth to it. There is really nothing to play on it that I can't play on PS4 or Nintendo.
Okay.
And it's funny because a lot of people are making memes right now. This is one dude, he just made a video of his little entertainment center and he's flipping out. He's like, and it's like a hood dude. So he's like screaming and cursing. He's like, yo, Spider-Man just came out last Friday, my dude. And look what I got. And he's pointing at his Xbox. He's like, why the fuck did I get this? And it's hysterical, but it's true. It's like there's the whole Ed, and Eddie meme with Ralph staring out the window looking angry. And somebody like photoshopped him into Spider-Man looking out the window. It was like, there's really people still playing Xbox right now.
Well, the funny thing about that, and I play across the board, and it's funny that originally it used to be multiplayer games were relegated to my Xbox, single player games were relegated to my PS4. This time around, I keep legacy titles that I started on Xbox, like Assassin's Creed, because all the saves carry over and you get more stuff from all the other old saves that are unlocked in game. So
that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, so I try to spread the love a little bit, but I think to your point, and it's something that it's dying out, man. Like the console wars aren't really wars anymore. No. And I say this because think about it. Almost every system gets some version of the game excluding exclusives. And I think that's where companies are leveraging all all the consumer buying power. Like PlayStation, most of the people play the bulk of their fighting games on PlayStation. So let's scoop up Capcom to make sure that our games, our fighting games, are PlayStation exclusives. Now, to that end, I still feel that Microsoft kind of tries to hold it down with all the shooters, but you're not a big FPS person anyway.
But they really don't. All they do is they try to lock down like DLC, which That's a whole other issue we've touched on many times.
Yep.
But here's a few facts. The Xbox One X this generation is the single most powerful thing out there.
Absolutely.
Next to a PC. Nothing touches it in terms of performance and ability. Unfortunately, that means nothing if there's no real incentive to own it.
Yep. I think it's funny you mentioned that. I was TV shopping, and I mentioned this to you before we started recording, and they had an Xbox One X being demoed with a Samsung television, an NU8000, and this particular TV, they're really driving home that it has FreeSync and a really impressive gaming mode, and they were they were running, the demo disc, and it was Madden, Halo, and Gears. Think about that. Madden is multi-console.
Right.
And you just have Halo and Gears to hang your hat on. And it's a shame. And Forza, but what I'm saying is it's a shame because Sony just goes, well, let's show you what we have. And it's like, do you have 15 minutes? And I think that's one of the bigger problems. And even look at Nintendo, and it's something we talked about for years. We were like, Nintendo's going to creep up and they're going to encroach on the mobile space. And they did. Because think about it, the Switch now can be considered a mobile gaming device because you could just pop it out of the dock and away you go. And
yeah, they did the right thing with the Switch because they knew if they didn't do something that cell phones and tablets were going to take over. And
we went from seeing kids with their parents' phones and their tablets to seeing more of them with the Switch.
And here's the crazy thing is that the Switch is playing the mobile games as well.
Yep. They're playing the mobile games, and as a matter of fact, shortly before we started recording, I was reading that they're releasing NES controllers to use with the Switch for their their virtual console offerings. And I said to myself, listen, that with all the money that was Nintendo made with the classic consoles, if you just release those through the Switch as like part of a subscription service, and just, hey, all the original NES titles, you can play them on the Switch for $9 a month or whatever as part of whatever their online system is. Nintendo would still make a killing. Because think about it, the two of the top selling consoles over the course of the summer that went head to head with the PS4 were Nintendo's mini consoles, which is scary. Did you end up buying either one?
I didn't because I wasn't able to get the NES, and then I really only wanted Super Mario RPG for the Super one, and I can get that on Virtual Console.
Okay. Now, obviously one of the big drivers for some of the content that you create for RageWorks and just the stuff you enjoy is obviously meeting with developers and getting stuff from companies. But outside of that, how do you keep your finger on the pulse of gaming? Like, what websites do you go to, or even just entertainment in general? Do you have a catalog of sites you visit? Are there sites that you still frequent, even though we're content creators ourselves?
Honestly, and I got this idea from you.
Go ahead.
I try to avoid, I don't not go, if I see something that's interesting on like IGN or Kotaku, I will go there and read the article. But in general, I do avoid those sites because it's like they're putting out a lot of the same thing that we are.
Yep.
And I might get upset sometimes because PR might give them the information earlier.
Right.
And I don't want to, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say taint, but I don't want to wind up writing the same things that they do.
Right. You don't want inadvertent absorption, which we talk about, where you're reading something or you hang around somebody that says a particular phrase, and then you see yourself catch yourself saying the same phrase.
Right.
Gotcha.
You'd be surprised how much you pick up just looking on regular social media. I mean, a lot of people they find out stuff through us, but I'll find out information through them as well. Like, actually, did I see it? I think I saw it from you first, but the whole early this week, the Samurai Spirits announcement, which
from Tokyo Game Show. It
really looks like they're just going to remake Samurai Showdown 1, which is Samurai Spirits. But
right. Using a Street Fighter style engine, kind of.
Right. I'm not against that. Like,
well, we're due. I think that's a title that, if you want to give it a fresh coat of paint, it's not bad. Like, how many years has it been? Think about it. How many years has it been since we had, kind of going off tangent a little bit, but when was the last time we saw like a legit Samurai Showdown title that wasn't that collection that we ran around looking for, remember?
I do. But I shit on remakes a lot because it's really all anybody is doing, especially Capcom. But there's a way to do it.
Okay.
Like, I've been praising Sega a lot lately because of the Yakuza Kiwami series.
Right.
If you're going to remake a game, first of all, don't remake a game that came out 5 years ago. Don't quote unquote remaster a game. And it's like, what do you call it? A big offender of that is From Software, because they re-released Dark Souls like 3 times this year.
Oh yeah, that triple dip was aggressive on their part.
But it's like, you take Yakuza Kiwami and Yakuza Kiwami 2. First of all, they're remakes of Yakuza and Yakuza 2. Those games came out on the PlayStation 2. And they didn't just say, okay, here's an HD version of those games. They completely remade the game using their current engine.
Right.
They completely revamped the combat using their current engine. They added story. They added mini games. They added a whole bunch of stuff, and they even, using the existing story and like the side missions, they even updated that to current times. Like, a lot of it still fits today because the games came out like 2005, 2006, but they updated things to make like certain things more relevant.
Right.
So they really did that. That's what I can consider truly remastering something. They remade it and remastered it. When you just say, "Oh, here's the game in HD," so what?
There's a double-edged sword with that, and it's funny, that we kind of went into the remake talk, because a new generation of gamers is, on the horizon. As our people in our demographic have kids and their kids are reaching that age, it's either emulators or trying to find, like, a great example. If you want to talk to a kid and be like, Sonic the Hedgehog was the pinnacle of gaming, unless you buy like a remastered version of Sonic the Hedgehog, or you buy like a collection with it, or you buy the original console, it's not like they're cranking out a new Sonic game came out recently. But in terms of just going back to like that golden age, you're kind of stuck in that area. And I think that one of the things that they're preying on is that, because every day new kids get into gaming and new adults get into gaming. So they just figure, well, this generation didn't play it. But to your point, there definitely should be a cap. We don't need something from 5 years ago being remastered. On the subject of Capcom, they're releasing that new beat 'em up collection. And I said to myself, all right, you got some good stuff in there. But what about, you did, and this is extremely relevant, why didn't you put like Aliens versus Predator on there? That arcade game that they did. Why didn't you put Saturday Night Slam Masters on there? People would go bananas for that stuff, I think they even did and I streamed it, but I don't remember if it was them. The Punisher and the Punisher game, the arcade game with him and Nick Fury. I feel that Capcom did that one too. Not 100% sure, but I know for a fact Saturday Night Slam Masters and was a game that could have been in that easy.
Some of those games though, they might not have
the rights.
They might not still have the licenses. Like, that's why we don't see Capcom versus SNK 3, which I don't understand why they don't just cooperate with SNK again, but it's and you don't see them like trying to remaster that, because they would, because that's my whole complaint. Even though I'll give them props that with the Resident Evil 2 remake, they're doing more of the Yakuza Kiwami approach to that, because it's completely revamped. Even if it's the same exact game, it looks completely different. So at least there's that much.
Right.
But pretty much everything Capcom has released this year is just a double dip.
Well, I think that we've reached that pinnacle where it's either everything that's old is new again, or people are trying to play it real safe because we went through a stage where people were just throwing shit at a wall to see what sticks. Sunset Overdrive, all these other games that they were just cranking out. If you remember, we were just getting all kinds of weird, funky stuff, and it's all peg warmers. I think I got an email recently, as a matter of fact, on the subject of Sunset Overdrive, that it was on sale for like $3. And this is what I'm talking about. Like, when we were growing up, we had games like Crazy Taxi and stuff like that were still fun, even though they were just, hey, drive around and pick people up and drive them to their destination. Like there was a level of simplicity to it. Now, I think publishers are scared because the value of a game or just the value of entertainment is stretched so thin now. Because think about it. You can game on your phone. You can game on a set-top box like an Amazon Fire TV. You can take your Switch with you. Console exclusivity is the only thing that's keeping certain franchises alive. Other than that, like look at a game like Rocket League. Rocket League is on pretty much every system. And the simplicity and the enjoyment is what kept that game in the public eye. Not where it was, not where you could play it, just how enjoyable it was. And I think that that's what people are kind of going back to, and they figure, well, these remastered classics, people enjoyed them, they'll keep playing them.
Well, in terms of who's the biggest offender, you got to look at each developer individually. Like I said, Capcom, I can't think of a new IP that they introduced this year. I'm hoping I'm wrong on that. But Square Enix, they announced yesterday that they're bringing a lot of like Final Fantasy titles over to the Switch and bringing some stuff to like Xbox and PS4 that hadn't been there before. And that's cool because at the same time, it's Saturday now here. Yesterday was the official launch of Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
That's right.
December, you got Just Cause 4. These are both Square Enix games. They are releasing new games this year.
Right.
And then you have, while a bunch of remakes are coming to the Switch, Nintendo is consistently releasing new games. I mean, consistently enough. Sony, they get pretty much all the games that don't go to PC and plenty that do.
Right.
But they have their own IPs coming out and they have plenty of exclusives. So they're covered. Xbox does have exclusives. I mean, I only shit on them as much as I have to because, like I said, it is a great console.
They're not grabbing you with anything.
Right. It is. I say when E3 came out, I said, please, Microsoft,
give me something.
Make me need this console.
They almost had you with Crackdown, and then they delayed Crackdown, and you were like, well, that kills that. I remember that.
My biggest issue with Crackdown is something that a lot of companies are really screwing the pooch on. When you want to hype a game, show me the game. Don't get Terry Crews in a suit to pretend that he's the agent.
Yep, I agree.
I don't want to see a live action commercial that's telling me what I'm going to do in the game. Show me the game.
Yep, I agree.
And then, like you mentioned, that companies don't want to take risks. You got CD Projekt Red. Their last big game was The Witcher 3.
Man, they squeezed every nugget they could out of that game because think about it. There was DLC coming out for that game left and right. They
said that from the beginning.
Yep, they kept that game in the public eye in a very well thought out way.
And their DLC is bigger than a lot of actual full games.
That's right.
So that much I don't mind. But now they have Cyberpunk 2077 coming, right, and they showed 48 minutes of gameplay. They didn't hire actors. They didn't do a trailer that was just
let's sell you with what you're here for.
Rendered graphics. They showed the actual game. They said straight up, the final product might look different, but that trailer was amazing. And it was definitely taking risks because it follows a style, but it's completely different from The Witcher, and it was insane. I look really, really look forward to that game because it puts you in a completely different setting from The Witcher. It gave you interesting characters that you want to learn about, and it gave you a story that you wanted to know more about.
I also feel that the publisher gives you more value for your dollar.
Oh, absolutely.
So that matters. That's critical.
Like
go ahead.
Companies like CD Projekt Red and I'm losing it right now. It'll come back, but the developer of Dying Light, which was the original developer of Dead Island, which is now also dead. Like they really go hard to give you value. Like they showed a lot of gameplay for the upcoming Dying Light 2, and that looks crazy with the whole, it's done to death whether you're going to be good or bad, but they really showed the city that you're living in, which I think is still Haran. I didn't really listen well enough, but the way the city develops really depends on what you do, and it's night and day. The city might look green and beautiful, or it might look like even more of a hellhole than when you started.
Nice.
And then you got to worry about the zombies, and you got to worry about when the sun goes down, the zombies get worse and more things show up.
Oh, geez.
That was the one thing that was I really enjoyed about that title, because to me it was a lot different from the rest of the zombie genre. Like, a lot of people love the zombie genre and a lot of people are tired of it.
Right. I agree.
This game, it took the concept of the freaks come out at night and really ran with it, because there's zombies all the time in this game. But then at nighttime, this thing called the volatile wakes up.
Oh, geez.
They are literally allergic to UV light. They will die in the sunlight. They're almost like vampires, but they're like the highest level of evolution of the undead in this game.
Okay.
And the Sony title, what the hell is their game where it's not zombies but they're like infected people?
Last of Us?
No, not The Last of Us. The other one with the motorcycle gang that's coming out. My brain is dead right now. I'm sure the people listening know what game I'm talking about, but it's like that game, they're saying it's not they're not zombies, they're actually infected people. But that brings up another thing, that the only other game that really touches on that is Resident Evil. They have infected animals in that game.
That's right.
Which I really appreciate, because
can't happen.
Of course, and it's like it's good that it's an extra threat for you.
That's right. I think that's one of those things where the gaming has evolved so much now that it's all about companies coming out and really trying to hit a home run to keep you engaged. CD Projekt Red definitely is a company that has excelled at that, and they've done a tremendous and phenomenal job. I did want to switch gears a little bit from the gaming side and talk about some of the other content creation, content consumption stuff. I know, you're still in the same camp as me as a collector of physical media. I know you're still picking up tangible Blu-rays.
Right.
Yeah. No jump to digital for you, huh?
I saw an article on that just a little while ago, and a quick segue back. The game is called Days Gone.
Okay.
Yeah, the Apple thing where people are losing their content.
That's right.
Yeah, I was always somebody that literally the digital content that I have falls into two camps. Either the game only comes out on digital, which I think right now the only game I have that is only digital is Yakuza 5, or the stuff I get from PR to review.
Now, I got a question for you. As someone who buys physical media, you're buying, you made the jump now recently to buying 4K Blu-rays. Are you redeeming your digital codes at all?
I haven't. And I do. And
I'll tell you why I ask you that. Because I found out that digital codes have an expiration date.
Oh, no, I was about to say that. I know they expire, and plenty of them have expired for me.
I was blown away, and the reason I said this was because I came across a service, and this isn't me promoting them. I just thought that it was a cool idea, because something I've talked about before, and if you've listened to old episodes of My Take Radio, was the discrepancy of, not the discrepancy, the lack of unity in terms of consuming digital content. So think about it. You say you have Amazon Prime, you buy a video there, and then you have an Android device and you buy a video on a Google Play Store. That means you have to have 2 different apps to consume that content. So I found out recently a company came out called Movies Anywhere. What Movies Anywhere does is it links with Amazon Prime, Google Play, iTunes, Vudu, Fandango now, Microsoft's offering. And what it does is any of those movies that you buy on any of those services will get cross-posted or will get cross-access on other services, excluding obviously studios that don't want to be part of it. So on, I linked my Microsoft account to Movies Anywhere, and they gave me X-Men Days of Future Past for free,
Nice.
which was kind of cool. And then I was wondering, because they had Google, when I was an Android user, they had given me a couple of free movies like Transformers and some stuff. I'm like, oh, why didn't this sync over? And it was because some studios aren't part of the Movies Anywhere service. But the reason I bring this up is because I was saying to myself, I should clear out some of these other impulse buys that I bought and just redeem the digital codes and sell the discs. And then I'm looking and I'm like, expired. And a buddy of mine was like, oh, well, you could contact them and tell them like, oh, you just forgot to redeem it, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, listen, I got like 25 movies I want to redeem. They're not going to want to hear that BS. So I figured I would ask to see if you were doing any sort of redemption of those codes, or if you were just sticking to physical media.
I generally stick to the physical media. Sometimes what I have done, like, I think it was Black Panther, where, it comes with a code inside the case, but I think because I pre-ordered it, Best Buy actually gave me a code early, and I gave it to a friend.
Right.
So at least somebody could make use of it, because I knew I wasn't going to. So sometimes I do that, or I was thinking that I might start redeeming them going forward, but the fact is that I'm saying to myself, when am I going to watch them?
Right. Well, I think, the Movies Anywhere thing kind of became something worth having, because there were certain movies, like I was going through movies that I'm clearing out, and I'm like, what the hell possessed me to buy Max Payne on Blu-ray? And I'm like, why'd you buy that? And I don't remember why.
Black Friday.
And that's kind of what I was thinking. I'm like, maybe because it was like $3 on Black Friday. But now it's like, I totally forgot I bought it. And I'm like, I could have redeemed the code for that and sold the movie, because it's not, I didn't hate it, but I'm like, redeeming the code isn't bad. And it's funny because now, selling the codes has become its own market now, where people are going and trading codes or selling codes on, forums and stuff. So that's pretty crazy. And you're watching all of this now. I know you recently picked up a new television. What'd you end up picking up?
It's a Samsung, but a M series. You mentioned the NU8000. I believe mine is the MU8000.
Right.
And it has a lot of the features you mentioned. Like if it's on the HDMI that I have the PlayStation connected to,
right,
when I turned it off and I turn it on, it'll turn on the PlayStation. Vice versa, if I turn on the PlayStation, it'll turn on the TV. Or if the TV's on, like, say I'm watching wrestling and I turn on the PlayStation, it'll actually switch to the PlayStation output.
Nice.
Which is good and bad. It's like, it's good if I
there's no picture for you to enjoy it the right way at that rate.
I was thinking, like, why doesn't it have picture-in-picture? But
that feature's died. You know what's died too? 3D TVs.
Yeah.
Dead. I'm like, I got so many Blu-rays with 3D on them. I guess those are worthless now.
I was like, thank God they came with standard as well.
Yep.
The only movie I have, and they actually corrected it for free, that I bought a 3D movie and it didn't come with a regular Blu-ray, was that Oz movie.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
It was 3D only, but
Yep.
there was an offer inside where I sent away, and they did send me the regular Blu-ray. So thankfully, I have both.
Okay. All right. So, we've broken down some of the stuff. It's funny. I saw on LinkedIn it said, Slick has been working for Rageworks 4 years now. It's definitely a lot longer than that. Rageworks, the entity has been in full effect for 4 years, but we've been going back with My Take Radio far longer than that.
Yeah.
So, it was interesting. I did want to mention that to you because I got an alert from LinkedIn like, oh, your colleague is celebrating a work anniversary. And I'm like, what the hell are they talking? I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. So I figured I'd share that nugget of information with you. So, we've chopped it up about media and content. I want to get into this little feature of our show, the hot seat. Just going to run down a couple of rapid fire questions, real easy to get a couple of things that our audience, a couple of nuggets of information our audience will appreciate. We'll start with something easy. What do you like or dislike about your mobile device?
I love the battery life. I love overall what it allows me to do. I love the screen. Obviously, I love the S Pen. That's why I stick with the Note. And what I dislike, a lot of the major features don't work the way they're supposed to, and maybe I'm not using it exactly the way I'm supposed to, but like, for example, the location feature randomly turns off on its own because it's a battery drain.
Interesting.
And I have to turn it back on, like, because I'll have problems with Wi-Fi services because a good example, my weather app, I'll look at it and it was like, it last updated like 13 hours ago because the location is off.
Ah, okay.
And I got to go in and turn it back on. And how sometimes I unlock my phone with the fingerprint. Sometimes it doesn't work because when you first turn on the phone, and this is a security feature, so it's a good thing too. When you first turn on the phone, if it's been powered down, you have to enter the password pattern.
Right.
The fingerprint won't work that one time.
Huh.
But the other thing is, there's supposed to be a feature, and this is a Note thing, like a Samsung feature, that if it recognizes that I'm at home, it's not supposed to lock.
Right. I remember that.
It used to work, and now it doesn't work.
Location-based security. I remember that. Yep.
It's like it still locks now.
Huh. We were talking about earlier, the games that you play. What are 3 apps that you can't live without? If you were to buy a brand new phone tomorrow, what are 3 apps that you would install immediately?
I mean, obviously, well, actually, this doesn't count because it's an Android phone, so Google Hangout would automatically be there. But I would say probably, I'm going to go a little bit obscure, Discord, Shazam, and a program called Out of Milk.
Oh, is that the reminder app?
It's a reminder app, and it's also a shopping list.
Oh, okay.
And it works how, like, say I need milk. I could type milk, or I could take my empty carton and scan the barcode on it, and it'll say you need milk.
And the name of it was, again?
Out of Milk.
Oh, okay. Nice. All right. We were talking about some of the programs on your PC. What's one website you recommend to people the most? Besides
RageWorks, not dead.
No, you gotta exclude RageWorks. Or what's a site that you personally go to daily?
HorribleSubs.info.
Really? And what's that?
It's where I get my anime.
Oh, okay.
But you also need a BitTorrent or a torrent client and VLC, so you can watch because it's not a streaming site. You actually are downloading episodes that have subtitles.
Oh, okay.
And it's subs only. It does not have any dubbed anime.
Wow, no dubbed anime, huh? On the subject of anime, anime you're watching currently?
I'm gonna give you 3 titles. One, because I post a lot of weird stuff from episodes completely out of context.
Nice.
One is an anime called Asobe Asobase, if I'm saying that right. It's about pretty much almost every anime is about high school kids.
Okay.
This is about these 3 girls that met in school and they're like best friends now. The opening is completely misleading because it's this peaceful, beautiful, like they're in dresses and they're like frolicking in the grass. These are the biggest bitches on earth.
Okay.
They do fucked up shit. Like
Wonderful.
the first episode, they're playing like rock, paper, scissors. And when you lose, and this is like a real Japanese thing, like when you lose, you got to make somebody look in a certain direction. The blonde girl who's supposed to be American, she's not. She made the other girl look one way, and she messed up. She smacked the shit out of her. Like if you look on my page, on my Facebook page, the background image is her smacking the shit out of the other girl.
Jeez.
The other one is called, the American title is called Chio School Road. It's about this chick who's a gamer. She's in high school. She stays up all night playing games, and then she has to get to school on time.
Okay.
And she goes through like the weirdest shit trying to get to school.
Okay.
Like, do you remember how they always have the meme from like one of the early episodes of Naruto where Kakashi did the 1,000 years of pain and shoved his fingers up his ass?
Vaguely.
Like, I'm sure anybody that's listening has probably seen that at one point.
Right.
There's like a girl from a grade school that just runs around doing that to people
Yikes.
because she hates everybody from her school.
Wonderful. Sounds about right. And the third?
The third is called Happy Sugar Life.
What the hell?
Happy Sugar Life is about this one girl who goes to school and works in this diner after school to like pay her rent because she lives on her own. And she has like, it looks like it looks like her little sister living with her, and they're like the happiest two girls in the world.
Weird.
They play, they watch TV, they play games, and they're calm.
But there's a button there.
But, and this is all in the first episode, the at the diner, the manager is this adult woman who hates our main character because everybody loves her because she's beautiful.
Okay.
And the dude working there, he wanted to ask the girl out. So what does the manager do? She like kidnapped him, tied him up naked in her office, and like rapes him every day.
Holy cow.
And the girl found out and set him free and basically said, you know, this is really fucked up, right? You need to not do this. And like she got caught, so she had to stop doing that. She goes home, because she was always smiling and happy, and like you saw her starting to snap because this bitch kept fucking with her. She actually cut her pay after making her like clean toilets and work overtime.
Wow, okay.
She's like, you're gonna pay me, you're gonna stop raping this dude, and you're gonna leave me the fuck alone. Otherwise I'm gonna tell everybody because I have you recorded berating me and this kid running out of the closet naked.
Oh man.
So she got her over the barrel, and then she goes home, sees her little sister, and she's all happy again. So it seems sort of like normal life until her sister goes to sleep.
Uh-oh.
And she checks the locks on this one door. And then you realize it's not her sister. She's a little girl who ran away from home that this girl abducted and treats her very well, but she still kidnapped this girl.
What the hell?
Their apartment is not her apartment because the people that lived there, she murdered them, chopped them into pieces and put them in a garbage bag, and they're in that locked room.
Oh, man.
This bitch is nuts.
That's insane. Well, all right. I'm going to probably need spelling for the first two animes, and the other one is Happy Sugar Life. All right. That's pretty wild. Okay. Favorite piece of tech besides your phone?
My brand new Amazing Red PlayStation 4 Pro.
Nice, which leads me to, I guess that's I was going to ask what was your last gaming purchase. So you did pull the trigger on that Spidey PS4, huh?
My last gaming purchase was Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which unfortunately due to my work schedule, I have not had a chance to touch it, but I will be touching Lara this weekend. And I know how wrong that sounds, and it was intentional.
But you did also pick up that Spidey PS4 Pro. I knew you couldn't resist. You were so angry. I said, he's going to buy it. He's gonna.
For anybody who doesn't know, this is the story. When they announced Spider-Man last E3, I said it'd be really cool if they made a PS4 Pro bundle, because I didn't have a PS4 Pro, and
that's right.
I was like, I need a PS4 Pro. It'd be really cool if they made a bundle because it's an exclusive, and that's what they do.
Right.
Then earlier this year, they came out with the God of War PS4 Pro bundle. I was like, damn it.
That's an ugly looking console.
It is.
It really is, man.
They could have picked anything other than the design on that axe.
Weird runes
to go on that cover.
You could have just put like an etched Kratos with the beard. That kind of would have been cool.
Or they could have just put the freaking red stripe on it.
Yep.
They could have made it pale white and put the red stripe on it.
I would have rocked with that.
Or even just the scar on his face.
Right.
So I was like, damn it. Because per year, they'll make at most 2 PS4 bundles. Well, per area. So I was really looking forward to E3 because I knew they were going to show more Spider-Man, and I was hoping they would announce the bundle. E3 comes, E3 goes,
no bundle.
And what's more, I thought they weren't going to do a bundle because during E3 they put the PS4 Pro on sale. It was, instead of $399, it was $350.
Yep.
So I said,
I guess this is it.
I gotta buy a PS4 Pro because it's on sale, and between now and September, because I said I gotta have a PS4 Pro by September 7th, which was the launch date of Spider-Man.
Right.
So I bought that PS4 Pro on sale. I had some coupons and rewards points and stuff. I actually
saved a decent amount of money.
Out of pocket, I paid $25 for it.
Attaboy.
And about a month after I got that PS4 Pro, it wasn't even like a video, it was just an announcement. Oh, by the way, look at this shiny new Spider-Man PS4 Pro bundle. And I wanted to break things.
Yeah, I know. You were furious. Okay, so what'd you do with your other PS4 Pro then?
It's in my bedroom.
Oh, okay. And what'd you do with the PS4 that was in your bedroom that was now replaced by the PS4 Pro?
I have multiple people asking me questions about it. It's still in my home, and at this point I'm thinking I might find like some kind of children's home or something and donate it to take off my taxes.
Nice. I was gonna ask, you started picking up 4K Blu-rays, but none of the Sony systems play them.
Oh, that's perfectly fine because I have a 4K TV and Black Friday's coming around. So
how are you going to rectify that? That's the question in the hot seat. How are you going to rectify? Are you going to?
Well, right now you can get a good Blu-ray player for about $200.
Yep.
I was hoping to get a really good one, like one that has Dolby Atmos
Those are very
certification.
nice. Yep.
But those also cost like $500.
Indeed, they do.
So I'm gonna wait till Black Friday. I'm gonna see what comes around, and before Christmas, I will definitely have a 4K player.
Okay, I was curious because you can get a nice cheap Xbox One S that plays the 4K. Just wink wink nudge nudge, fairly cheap,
Yeah, but still more than what it costs to just buy a Blu-ray player. But see, and that actually,
I'm just messing with you.
No. Going back to your question, that actually was going to be the plan. If Microsoft had sold me on
something,
I was gonna buy an Xbox One X. Because honestly, and this is for anybody, if you're gonna buy a PS4 or an Xbox, get the Xbox One X or get the PS4 Pro.
Yep.
Unless you simply can't afford them, because it really doesn't make sense to get the lesser one.
Yep. When I was setting up for the studio, I ended up selling my old launch Xbox One,
right,
to get the S to put in studio, and then I sold the system, and I said, I'll just get the Xbox One X for my bedroom, and that's pretty much how it went. But that was my plan, just to have a system in studio and have a system in my bedroom, and now it doubles as my 4K player, which gets all the updates. But I figured I would ask that only because I know you were making the purchase choices of 4K recently.
Right, the Xbox One X was going to be my 4K player, but when it doesn't do anything for me,
right,
more than play 4K, I'm not spending $500.
No, I agree 100%. The next one, what's something that you've bought that's been less than $100 that has made your life either easier or just more enjoyable?
Less than $100.
Less than $100. Could be anything. We can always circle back if you want to think about it.
Actually, I bought, and I don't know if it was this year, but it's recently been getting a lot of burn, which that could be taken as a pun. Not the regular one, but the smaller George Foreman grill.
Really? You cracked open and got a Foreman, huh?
I've had it for a while, but I had some problems with the outlet in my kitchen, which have recently been rectified. And it's just, especially because of my work schedule, sometimes I come home and I don't want to cook a whole bunch of stuff, and I can just throw something in there, and in a couple of minutes it's done. And it gives an oddly, not oddly, but like, I don't know how it's doing it, but it kind of gives a little bit of a smoky barbecue flavor to it.
Nice. Okay. Not what I expected. Pretty cool. So, we've talked about some tech. We've talked about a lot of games. Let's talk toys. I know you are a hardcore Transformers fan like yours truly. Last Transformers collectible you bought?
I think Shockwave.
Okay.
There's a lot of new ones out that I want, but there were some money concerns earlier this year, and I'm gonna get back on it. Like, they made a new Megatron, which I need to pick up.
With the interchangeable faces?
Yeah.
That one's amazing.
And there was something else coming out. Like, as much as I love the show, I'm really not a fan of the Beast Wars ones.
I can't get into them.
Although the Megatron one, the T-Rex, the purple T-Rex Megatron is looking pretty good. I might consider that one.
That one is pretty nice. I mean, they tried to do the that surfboard Optimus Prime, the Gorilla Prime, and I'm like, nope, can't do it.
It looks perfect, but the problem for me that I think they maybe could have done better on is in Beast mode, they have so many seams.
Yep.
And it doesn't look right.
It does not look natural. It's true.
I think considering these are supposed to be masterpiece Transformers, that they could have done a better job.
Okay.
Like, I expect there to be seams just because it's transforming, but I think they could have done better than they're doing. Like, the Cheetor one looks awful.
Yeah, definitely does. It definitely wasn't on my radar. All right. What was a favorite toy or collectible from your childhood, and a favorite toy or collectible that you currently own?
From my childhood, my favorite toy was probably my Voltron set. I used to watch episodes of Voltron and like form Voltron when they were forming Voltron in the show.
Nice. Which
was always a pain because that set had like 8 million pieces.
Damn
all
right.
The projectiles that they had.
Yep.
And I probably lost them everywhere. My cat probably ate some.
There you go.
Today, I actually still have, I'm trying to think of something more current, but I still have my old Fluffy, the Android ape from the Bionic 6.
Wow. That's a hell of a toy, man.
And I have to dust him off every now and again, but I keep him around.
Okay. Nice. All right. So with that, Slick has survived the hot seat for this episode of Toys and Tech of the Trade. If you had your choice of somebody you'd like to see featured on a future episode, who would that be? This is a nice way of paying it forward. I always like to ask.
I would say, actually, I'm about to change my Mr. JVB.
All right. Yeah. It's funny. JVB, aka Jose Betancourt, host of Talking About Games, also a great photographer in his own right. We've actually been trying to pin down a date to record, so you will be getting your wish very soon. All right. And last but not least, to wrap things up, where can people connect with you besides obviously rageworks.net?
Twitter on I'm at RW_slick, or I'm trying to think.
Instagram, but I don't know how much.
Exactly. I would say just go to the Facebook fan page.
Yep.
You'll see me post. If you want to connect with me, just click on it, write me a message, say who you are. If I don't already know you, because I get a lot of random requests that I ignore.
Oh, yeah. There you go. All right. So there you go. We got to talk toys, we got to talk tech, and we got to find out all the toys and tech that Slick uses for his trade. With that said, Slick, thanks a lot for taking time out of your schedule to sit down and chop it up with us.
Always here to lend a hand.
All right, folks, with that, we're out of here. Peace. All right, big thanks to Slick for being our latest guest on Toys and Tech of the Trade. To find out more about Slick and keep up with everything that he's doing, make sure to follow him on social media. The links to all his social media accounts will be in the show notes for this episode. As always, you can find Slick's work on RageWorks.net, especially in the gaming section. If you would like to be a guest on a future episode of Toys and Tech of the Trade, feel free to drop me a line either via the contact form on the site or via email, rich@rageworks.net. If you have any feedback on this episode or any others, you can also email me, rich@rageworks.net, and share your thoughts there. As for RageWorks, you can find us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. If you're on YouTube, hit us with a nice subscription. We'd really appreciate it, and you can watch a video version of this episode there as well. Join us in 2 weeks as Slick's wish gets granted, and our next featured guest will be a friend of RageWorks and sometimes a contributor to the site as well, the one and only JVB Jose Betancourt. I am Rich. Thank you guys for checking out this episode of Toys and Tech of the Trade, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
In Southern California, you're in your car a lot. Over time, you're going to put some wear on it. But new Toyota owners don't really have to think about that because they have Toyota Care. They just stop by the dealership, hand over the keys, and get no-cost factory maintenance, covering normal wear for 2 years or 25,000 miles, whichever comes first. Get all the details on Toyota Care when you visit buyatoyota.com. Your Southern California Toyota dealers make it easy. Toyota, let's go places.
Right now, switch your family to T-Mobile and get 4 lines for $25 a line with AutoPay and 5G access included on America's largest 5G network. So don't wait. Get unlimited and nationwide 5G access for the whole family for just $25 a line. Visit a T-Mobile store or T-Mobile.com today.
Plus taxes and fees. Customers may notice lower speeds and further reduction if using over 50 gigs a month due to data prioritization. Video at 480p. Unlimited while on our network. Qualifying credit and 4+ lines required. Capable device required for 5G. Coverage not available in some areas. Some uses may require certain features. See T-Mobile.com.